So we have an update on the status of Alex Shelley with Impact Wrestling, specifically what it looks to be an injury to the former Impact World Tag Team Champion and one half of the Motor City Machine Guns. Now, at Bound for Glory this past weekend, or last weekend, the Motor City Machine Guns were scheduled to defend the Impact World Tag Team Championships against the North, the Good Brothers, and Ace Austin and Madman Fulton in a Fatal 4-Way Tag Team match. However, before the match could begin, Ethan Page and Josh Alexander, the North, the former Impact Tag Team Champions, shockingly attacked Alex Shelley on the entrance ramp, and Josh Alexander delivered a pile driver, or an inverted, at least kind of pile driver, on the entrance ramp. This meant that Alex Shelley was ultimately unable to compete, and the Motor City Machine Guns during the match lost the Tag Team Championships to the North after only Chris Sabin was able to compete on the team's behalf. Now, Mike Johnson of PW Insider has reported that Impact did the angle to Alex Shelley before the match because he was suffering from a legitimate injury. This has been revealed by Alex Shelley, who has revealed that he was suffering from problems with the C6 and C5 nerve roots in his neck. He tweeted, quote, "So, the C6 nerve root controls your pointer finger and bicep, and C5 can refer to your pectorals. If you feel intense burning in either of these areas following trauma, please seek medical attention. I feel somewhat grateful to have the education to know what the red flags are," end quote. The two-time Impact World Tag Team Champion revealed on this week's episode of Impact Wrestling that he will be out of action for roughly 2 months. In an interview backstage, he, alongside his tag team partner Chris Sabin, said that they were coming for the tag team championship soon because Chris Sabin, of course, was never pinned at Bound for Glory. It was actually Kyle Anderson that was pinned during the tag team championship match. However, this might be a little bit of a detour because, of course, Alex Shelley is injured, and during the segment, Triple XL attacked both Alex Shelley and Chris Sabin, with AC Romero and Larry D interrupting the former tag team champions and taking out Alex Shelley. Now, to further continue this, during the Wrestling Observer Radio this past week, Dave Meltzer explained that Shelley was injured going into the Bound for Glory match, and that spot was a way to write him out of the match and possibly off television for the near future. He said, quote, "It was scripted, but I guess he has a real injury and they're taking time off. He was injured going in, and it was very clear that this was scripted to write him out of the match. He has some damage to the C5 and C6 vertebrae, so he has some neck damage," end quote. Now, it was also announced this week that Alex Shelley is out of Black Labels Pro's upcoming Slamilton event on November 21 for the same injury. They said, quote, "Unfortunately, due to injury, Alex Shelley will not be appearing at Slamilton. Talked by Billy Rick, and he will still be wrestling that afternoon. We will announce a replacement when we figure it out," end quote. Now, Alex Shelley actually apologized for missing this event on social media. He tweeted out, quote, "Wrestling is a really dangerous sport, and sometimes things don't work out the way you want them to. I apologize to Black Label Pro and at SOR Billy, who was coming out of retirement, as well as any independent companies I was negotiating with. Pile drivers are very dangerous," end quote. Now, this comes after Alex Shelley had stepped away from pro wrestling for a while to become a physical therapist. He mentioned this when discussing his neck injury, saying because of his education, he was actually able to detect what the red flag symptoms were. And he actually, as I mentioned, spoke about the red flags for the trauma to the C5 and C6 vertebrae, talked about what connects where, and how he knew that this was the issue that he was suffering with. So, if anything, his education there genuinely is a blessing, because a lot of the times when it comes to pro wrestlers, they feel little bits of pain in their fingers, their arms, their shoulders, wherever, and they don't realize that it can be a serious neck injury in the case of Alex Shelley here. So that's a blessing. That's a blessing. You have to look at positives when it comes to injuries, and that is a blessing. But the whole situation when it comes to Alex Shelley, it sucks. Injuries, they suck. It's a part of pro wrestling, unfortunately, and whenever anyone gets them, Heath got an injury at Bound for Glory too, it absolutely sucks. Especially in the case of Alex Shelley, because the Motor City Machine Guns, they've just been fantastic. Since returning to Impact Wrestling, they have been absolutely fantastic, but especially when it comes to neck injuries, you have to be really, really careful, don't you? You know, we've seen so many wrestlers throughout the years have their careers cut short when it comes to neck injuries. Of course, you think of Steve Austin, Edge, Page, and a million other more. You have to be very, very careful. Now, if you catch them early, you can rehab and you can be fine. But if you do work on it when it's injured, you can cause a lot more damage. Look at the likes of Kurt Angle, who has broken his neck it's something like 4 or 5 times, and in each time he got the short way out and got the rehab and maybe not the surgery and all of this kind of stuff, which led to serious problems down the line, and he's still feeling those effects today. So if you work on a bad neck, it can do a lot of damage. But like I said, when it comes to Alex Shelley, because he's a physical therapist, he's for me to say, because he has the education, he knows the risks, he knows the best way to rehab, he knows how to come back safely and recover in the best way possible. So that to me is encouraging, that he can come back in the best way, he knows the exact right way to rehab, and he can come back safely. So that's encouraging there. So I suppose the question is now, with Alex Shelley having to take some time off, what happens with Chris Sabin in Impact Wrestling? Well, Chris Sabin, people forget when it comes to him that he had a fantastic career in Impact and just in general before and after the Motor City Machine Gun. He's had an absolutely brilliant singles career at this point in professional wrestling and Impact Wrestling. He's a former X Division champion on something like 8 times, 9 times. He's a former TNA World Heavyweight champion. So I would suspect, and again I don't know, but I would suspect while Alex Shelley is out and he's on the shelf, I would suspect that Sabin can work as a singles in Impact Wrestling. Of course, just because Alex Shelley is injured doesn't necessarily mean that he won't be on TV, of course. Now, it looked to me like he was written off of TV this week during the attack by Triple XL, but he could, of course, still appear in the corner of Chris Sabin going forward. However, given that they were attacked by Triple XL, like I said, it would imply that Alex Shelley, at least, is being written off of TV. Maybe even Chris Sabin too, if he wants to have a bit of a break, focus on things behind the camera. He is a producer and an agent for Impact too, or maybe just give them a couple of weeks off. Now, I think if you look at the timing of things, when is Alex Shelley and potentially Chris Sabin, but when is Alex Shelley going to be cleared to return to the ring? It's pretty much November right now. It's Halloween today. Happy Halloween, guys. So it's pretty much November now, and Impact have already been announcing that the Hard to Kill, Impact Wrestling's next pay-per-view event, is in January. So maybe if Shelley and Sabin are off TV for a couple of months, then maybe they can return to Impact in January at the Hard to Kill pay-per-view, or certainly around that period of time. 2 months from now is January, so I think those timelines and those timeframes kind of line up together, that if they're out for a couple of months, Hard to Kill's at the end of January, they can return for then. So I think that's the goal at this point, is to have Alex Shelley back at the Hard to Kill pay-per-view in January. And you would assume that if and when they do come back, the Machine Guns will be feuding with Triple XL. So I think that's obviously, given that Triple XL attacked them this past week, that's the feud and the direction that they're going in terms of the Motor City Machine Guns. And you also have to consider this past week on Impact Wrestling, Triple XL, they beat the Rascals. They beat Des and Wentz this past week on Impact. So they're obviously getting featured. I think that victory was to put them in the position where when they do attack the Machine Guns, like they did on the show, it makes you feel like, oh, this isn't just some random jobber team. They are legitimate. So I think that's why they beat the Rascals this week, and going forward, they're going to be featured and pushed more on TV. Now, in terms of Triple XL as a tag team, you know, I don't mind them as a tag team. They're obviously an attraction for their size. The evidence there is in the name and the entrance. They do the whole camera shake when they walk to the ring. Is their work in the ring, is their in-ring talent amazing? Are they the most technical wrestlers in the world? No, it isn't. As I mentioned, they're an attraction tag team. Their size and their mass is an attraction there. And I say mass, obviously AC Romero has actually lost, I think it's over 100 pounds at this point, which is absolutely fantastic for him. I mean, don't get me wrong, Romero is still a big guy, and he's still got the gimmick of being a big guy, but losing 100 pounds isn't easy at all. So you have to congratulate him on that. Congratulations to him, because it's a fantastic achievement. I think when you look at the grand scope of the Impact Tag Team division, it's absolutely great. It's absolutely fantastic, and you look at the teams in there, it's excellent. It really is. I think not to make this an Impact versus WWE thing or an Impact versus AEW thing, I just think it's worth comparing. Look, they're all professional wrestling companies and promotions, so the comparisons will always be made. I think Impact Wrestling's tag team division is by far much, much better than WWE's tag team division for sure. Not that that's hard, because their tag team division is non-existent. I would argue that AEW has the strongest tag team division in the world though. But Impact Wrestling's tag team division is very, very strong. You have the North, who in my opinion are right up there as one of the best tag teams in the world right now. They are really that good. You also have the Good Brothers, Doc Gallows and Carl Anderson, who are Obviously a fantastic tag team, but a really recognizable tag team. Well-known guys in the United States, all over the world, in Japan. So they're a recognizable, legitimate, featured team there as well. You've also got the Motor City Machine Guns, legendary tag team, innovators, high flyers, and still can go today. Absolutely brilliant. You've got the attraction team like a Triple XL, who are, like I said, are they amazing? No, but you need variety in a division, and I think Triple XL does provide variety. Even if they're not the most amazing in-ring team, they're an attraction, and you do need those kind of tag teams and superstars and wrestlers on the roster. The Rascals you've got in there, Des and Wentz, who I love. I think they are such a talented tag team. I think they really, really are something special. Their work in the ring is just, it's phenomenal. It really is incredible. They remind me a lot of the Motor City Machine Guns. They remind me a lot of Christopher Daniels and AJ Styles when they teamed in Impact Wrestling. I think they're just that good. And they've also got a couple of other tag teams in there. They're occasionally team up, TJP, Falabar, etc. So you've also got the Dinas and those sort of lower tag teams. But it looks like going forward in that tag team division, it looks like we're going to have the North feuding with the Good Brothers going forward for the tag team titles, which to me is the money feud. I think it's the big money feud. It's the two top tag teams. Yeah, arguably the two top tag teams in Impact Wrestling right now in terms of the quality in the North. As I mentioned, one of the best tag teams in the world. And the Good Brothers, just that top level recognizable tag team. They've been everywhere, won championships everywhere. They're legitimate. They're on big contracts. They're meant to be bringing in the viewers, and they're recognizable. So that's the big money tag team feud in Impact right now, is the North versus the Good Brothers. So the Motor City Machine Guns, they do need a team to feud with, or at least face when they return, and perhaps this allows Triple XL onto that big platform, an opportunity for them to step up to the plate, develop, see if they can carry, a big match against the Motor City Machine Guns, see if they can carry that opportunity. So it's an interesting pairing if we do see that match, which I do think we will eventually see that match between Triple XL and the Machine Guns, because you've got massively contrasting styles there. You have the big, powerful attraction team, power moves, limited in the ring, but like I said, a big attraction against the smaller workers, the high flyers, very technical wrestlers, and quite frankly, a legendary tag team in Impact Wrestling history. So styles make matchups. They say it in MMA, styles make fights, and it's the same in professional wrestling. Styles make matches. So it certainly is an interesting and contrasting styles between the two teams there. Now, would it be the feud that I want to see the Motor City Machine Guns in? Am I desperately wanting to see the Motor City Machine Guns versus Triple XL? Probably not. But I think at this point, given their history with the company, and given their, not necessarily their age, but just their recognizable name, and they're not the tag team champions anymore, I think they're looking to get over newer and younger tag teams, or less seen tag teams, and help elevate them. So we'll see how that goes. Personally, before the Machine Guns are done in Impact, and I do think, they're not going to stay around forever, of course. This is going to be a limited run, I think, in the company. I don't think they're done yet. So before the Machine Guns are done, as a team anyway, in Impact Wrestling, I really want to see them feud with the Rascals. I think the feud that is really going to allow the Machine Guns to leave their impact, pun intended, with the company before they split up and ride off into the sunset is a feud against the Rascals. That is absolute money. It's going to be absolute money. Think of the matches there. I think two real high-flying tag teams, two tag teams that have major innovative offense and can do crazy stuff and stuff we haven't seen before. I think back to the Machine Guns matches against the likes of, it was Generation Me, but the Young Bucks that they had in Impact Wrestling back in 2010. You go back and watch some of those matches, they're incredible. And are they high spot fests? Are they spot monkey fests? Yes, they are. And they are especially what you would consider the AEW style at this point, but they were absolute excellence. And I think a match between the Rascals and the Machine Guns, that's where Impact should be aiming towards now. And as I mentioned, Des and Wentz, they actually remind me a lot of the Motor City Machine Guns. So I think a match between those two teams with Des and Wentz going over would be a real passing of the torch situation and moment, help elevate the Rascals to a new level, and it'd just be excellent television, or an excellent pay-per-view match wherever we see it. So when you have to consider it as well, and I mentioned the passing of the torch there, we don't know when it comes to Alex Shelley. We don't know how long he's going to be around in Impact. As far as I'm aware, and this was the case at least a couple of months ago, so I think it's the same now, because he was going to have those independent spots there before he got hurt. As far as I'm aware, he doesn't have a full-time contract with Impact. He certainly doesn't have an exclusive contract with Impact. As far as I'm aware and what I've read, he's working on a handshake per appearance deal with the company. So let's be honest, we don't know how long Alex Shelley is going to be around for when it comes to Impact Wrestling. So that's not the same when it comes to Chris Sabin, though. Chris Sabin has a full-time deal. He has a contract as a wrestler. He has a contract as an agent, as a producer. So Chris Sabin's going to be around, but we just don't know about Alex Shelley. And obviously this injury will play into that too. So it's a very, very interesting situation to see how it plays out. Hopefully Alex Shelley returns soon. Hopefully the neck injury isn't too serious. And hopefully we can see him back in an Impact Wrestling ring in early 2021. So hopefully he recovers quickly and we can see some more amazing Motor City Machine Guns matches. But of course, as always, this is just one man's opinion. What are your thoughts on Alex Shelley's neck injury being out for 2 months? What do you think about a feud with Triple XL? And what do you think about potential feuds against the likes of the Rascals in the future for the Motor City Machine Guns? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. I'll be sure to respond and reply to all of your comments. Really enjoy interacting with you guys and chat about Impact Wrestling here on the channel, so be sure to leave a comment below. If you have enjoyed this video, please do smash a like on the like button as well. It really does help us out here on YouTube. Go up the rankings and get into people's recommendation feeds if they haven't seen our videos previously. But most importantly, if you haven't already, please do subscribe to Wrestle News 365. You can do that by clicking the bottom right hand corner of the screen right now, or if you wait a few seconds, there'll be a subscribe button at the end of this video along with another video for you to watch. Thank you very much for watching, listening, streaming, or however you come across this video today, and I'll speak to you again very, very soon. Hey guys, thank you for watching, listening, streaming, or however you come across this video today. Be sure to click on the video on the right there to watch our next video, or click the bottom there to subscribe, or the bottom right hand corner. Thank you very much, and I'll speak to you again very soon.